Hey everyone, and welcome in to another episode of the Tim and Jim Show. I'm Tim Sohn with Sohn Social Media Solutions over here in Pennsylvania. And good morning, my friend and trusty co-host, Mr. Jim Fuse.
And good morning. I'm Jim Fuse of Fusion Marketing, located in Atlanta, Georgia, specifically Marietta, where it is now the home of the five-time NL East Division champion Atlanta Braves after last night's win over the Miami Marlins. And for all you Met fans out there, I know you don't like Sal because Sal, and for those that don't know the story, Twitter, if you're on Twitter, this is one of the most hilarious things for me as a Braves fan. On May the 31st, when they were up 10.5 games on the Braves, he said the NL East is over, and he is eating his words like no tomorrow, and went to the games this past weekend when the Braves swept the Mets. And so now the Mets have to play as the wild card and have a little bit tougher thing. But enough. That was my sports moment for today, Tim. You know how we usually get that in. But yes, really excited for our guest today, Vicki O'Neill, who we met at Social Media Week Lima, right? A recurring theme. We talk about this great conference all the time, which will be in June this year. Vicki, you think you might make it this time?
I don't know that I'll be able to make it this year or next year. We're already past June. So yeah, next year. I might next year.
Right. But it's a great conference. And that's where we met, along with her friend, Kendra Ramirez, who's been on the show before as well. And so Vicki is going to be talking today with us about how to create a cross-platform video strategy. And so Vicki, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, well, I am in Cincinnati, Ohio, since we're establishing our geographies. But I've been in marketing and sales for over 20 years. And over the last 2 years, have really focused in on video marketing. In the past, it's always been like content marketing, but I really realized that there was an opportunity to help people with video and kind of overcome their fear of being on camera, and then also how to leverage video in their marketing, whether they're trying to attract a new audience or they're trying to convert people to buy from them. And I saw the opportunity on all these different platforms and how to really leverage one video across different platforms to, really save yourself time and just creating videos, but then also content. And I haven't looked back since. So I'm really enjoying it. And I love the people that I've worked with. And it's great to see people kind of overcome that fear of being on camera and really demonstrating, who they are, and, just seeing the benefits of doing that easier and faster in video than you can in either audio or text. So having fun doing that.
And that is so cool. I mean, it was funny, right? Because we were talking beforehand how you had made that transition. And I think Tim, you and I both, right, over the last couple of years have made that transition where we're more focused on video production, whether it's remote production, whether it's doing a live show, as opposed to that. I mean, Tim, what made you, I guess, gravitate more towards video? And then same question to you, Vicki. I mean, what is it about it? Because some people are terrified of video.
Yeah. Tim, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Well, for me, how I ended up getting into video, especially live video, was that it was a number of years ago when Facebook was saying, well, now Meta, but Facebook was saying, they had come out with Facebook Live, and they were saying Facebook Live is going to get you the best reach, the best engagement, all the things, right? And so I was telling my clients that they needed to do Facebook Live, but I wasn't doing Facebook Live. So my clients weren't doing it because I wasn't doing it. So then I did it, and all these years later, here I still am. So that's really how I ended up doing it. What's your story, Vicki?
I actually created my very first video, and I always talk about this if I'm doing like a 5-day challenge or if I'm live streaming and just, helping people understand where I started with video. And I created my very first recorded video and uploaded it on YouTube in 2011. And if you look at that today, you just want to be like, what were you doing? I just remember more so like the feeling of, frustration and anxiety. And I had this thought of perfectionism. I think a lot of us suffer from that. We don't want to get on camera if we can't be perfect. And one thing, perfection doesn't exist. So it makes it a little bit easier when you can move forward with that mindset that, there is no such thing as perfection. But you can actually kind of see it in how I'm delivering my message is that, you can tell I'm like memorizing it and I'm trying to make sure I get all the points, but I'm also trying to come across like I'm talking naturally, and it definitely does not come across naturally. So I can use that as a point of reference to say we all start somewhere. And then when you look at that one, if you compare it to a video I do today on any of the platforms, you can tell, and even like how I'm talking now, it's more naturally, it's not pre-recorded. I didn't have a script that I'm reading from and I'm trying to perfect it and come across in a certain way. I'm coming across more so as as myself on video now than, trying to pretend and try to create this perfect vision of what a video looks like. So it's a great reference point to just kind of show where I was and where I am today.
I think that's awesome. And Chris Stone, I know he's here in the chat. If he might be able to tell me the exact person that said this, but this guy has this phrase called "Getmo," good enough to move on. And I think that is so powerful with video because you can definitely tell when somebody's reading something, right? It's almost like it's just too hard to like read and be yourself because you're so focused on making sure you hit every word. And I was talking with someone the other day. It's like really, it's like as long as you have those points, right? Just
Yes.
be more natural. Think about what are the key points I want to have, and sure, you could have them up maybe on a screen and kind of glance like, did I hit everything I wanted to say? But I think because like what we do with the show is the 4 questions that we're planning to ask, so that kind of at least lets you plan for that, so it's not a surprise. But, we may have somebody in the audience ask a question that, might require a little bit more thought. So I think that that's a great way to do it. And I think that's where I think for me with YouTube, and sure we'll get into this conversation, Vicki, is when I think about YouTube sometimes, and it's like these people spend hours to do a 10-minute video because they want it to look perfect. And it's like,
Yeah.
do we really need to do that anymore?
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a difference too. If you're going to invest, if you look at some of these really good YouTubers, those people that have, hundreds of thousands of followers, or even Mr. Beast, who we probably all know, if you look at their videos, like their end result videos, there's a lot of time involved in the editing and production process. So it may not take a lot of time to actually create the videos, not that it doesn't for them. He's got an entire team of people who's
Right.
helping him create a video. But a lot of the reason why people go back to those videos is because of the editing and the production. And if you notice, if you watch any of those videos, and I encourage people to go and pick somebody that's, if it's Pat Flynn or if it's, channel makers with Nate, whoever it is on YouTube, if you go and look at their videos, well, Nate's probably not a good one because he does a lot of like how-to trainings. But if you look at the videos, there's a lot of like cuts in their videos. And it's that cutting and the overlays and the speed and the transitions, all of that is what helps keep people engaged in that video. And it's all about watch time, right? So it's the average video duration. And if you can get people engaged in a video like that, then they're going to, one, subscribe and come back. And then two, they're going to watch more of your content and engage with you, which then leads them down further, the buyer's journey to buying from you, whatever it is that you're offering.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. So let's get started with the questions. Tim, you want to start with question number 1?
I would love to do that. Before I do that, I just want to thank everyone who's here. I want to thank Chris Stone and Stephen Kaplan and Katie Simpson and everyone who's here, whether you're here live or on the replay. Thank you for showing up. And there's a lot of chatter in the comments going on about me seeing a bear this morning. And that's true. I actually walked my daughter to the bus stop this morning, and I got to the bus stop, and the mom of our neighbor was at the bus stop and told me that there was a bear that they saw this morning. And I was like, well, thank you. That's comforting. I just walked our daughter to the bus stop and they drove down, and then I have to walk back. So on the way back, I'm walking and she was like, don't worry about it. The bear went the other way. Well, I'm walking, and as I'm walking up the hill, the bear is walking down the hill, and I don't have a car. So I decided to walk to the coffee shop, which is probably like a mile away. So anyway, slight diversion.
Did you walk
but
or
here
run?
we go.
Yeah,
I
I'd be
walked.
running.
I did walk. Yeah. Luckily, the bear did not catch up. So that's the bear story of the day.
Well, you're braver than me. I would have been like catching a ride on the back of a car. I'd be booking it. Like I'd be testing my running skills at that point.
Well, I live on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, so there was no car to run onto or anything.
Oh, that's true. So. Yeah. So you're just like run as fast as you can and hope the bear can't catch up.
Exactly. Yeah. So Vicki, why should a business consider a cross-platform video strategy? Anyway,
Great
besides maybe
question.
you'd find a video of a bear that you could put some relate to your business or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I might have to see now how I can kind of slide that into the conversation.
Right.
Well, videos is scary, right? So there you go. Scared of bears. You can that approach. But why should businesses have a cross-platform strategy? So cross-platform is saying, like LinkedIn is a platform, Facebook's a platform, all these different platforms. All the platforms now support some type of video, right? So it could be, on TikTok, it could be a 15-second video, or it could be on YouTube where you can have up to like an 11-hour, 12-hour video that you upload or you live stream. So there's different variations, and that presents choices to businesses. And I actually posted about this as like a short or, Instagram reel, TikTok video this morning, is that if you're going to be on one platform, obviously you need to know where your ideal customer is spending time. So if it's on LinkedIn, that's great. But chances are the majority, if not all of your ideal customers are spending time someplace else, right? They may not be creating content on those platforms like TikTok, but a lot of people are spending time on TikTok. Even for business, people are spending time there. So even if you're not a fan of TikTok, just understanding where people are spending time and how you might need to change what you're doing with your content in order to make sure that you're maximizing your time in creating it, whether it's video, other types of content, but really leveraging how you're going about like reaching them and making sure that you're kind of following, where they're going. I look at LinkedIn right now and see the content that people are posting, and including mine, it's getting lower views, it's getting lower engagement. And I don't know if anybody else, like you guys, Tim and Jim, if you guys are kind of like, hey, what's going on with this? Are people spending time someplace else? Yeah, exactly. Right. So are people spending time someplace else? And chances are they are. It's not just spending it on LinkedIn. So even for LinkedIn coaches, if they're doing their live streaming and they're doing all their content on LinkedIn, like Jillian, for example, do you guys know who Jillian Whitney is? She does a weekly live streaming show. She's really good, and she actually focuses on video for people on LinkedIn, but she's also building her YouTube channel. So now she's on 2 different platforms, and, she's attracting people who are on YouTube and now can attract them and help them as well. So the importance of that is to just, make sure that you're keeping your finger on the pulse with where your ideal customers are spending time. And that if you're creating video, and even if you're not creating video yet, just knowing, what type of content you need to be creating in order to stay connected with them and make sure that you're serving them in the best way possible wherever they're spending time.
Wow, that's great points. I mean, do you? And I know you said like the word shorts. I think that's sometimes where I'll just say, me as an older person, I sometimes struggle with that short form content and trying to come up with better ways to do that. And maybe some of it is just taking, as an example, clips out of this show and repurposing it, as opposed to feeling like I gotta do something from scratch. In fact, since StreamYard is powering the show today, if you're not aware, folks, they just came out with a new feature that on all plans, right, you can now clip the front and back end of your videos and save it. No no limits on the space, at least at this point, for those clips, and you can rename them. So you can actually create multiple clips right here in StreamYard. So I thought that was kind of a neat feature for people that are just starting out, because take that clip, put it on LinkedIn, right? Put it on Twitter. Twitter, I think it's got to be under 2 minutes and 20 seconds for a video clip. But yeah, so that's pretty amazing. And Tim, any follow-up thoughts on this before we go to the next question?
No, I just think that's really interesting. What you were saying in terms of TikTok and, in terms of people, there are a lot of eyeballs on TikTok and people who are, also on LinkedIn who are also spending time on TikTok. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. And they're spending time on Instagram watching
Yeah.
reels. They're also on YouTube watching shorts. People
Yeah.
are actually gravitating towards shorter form content. So what you were saying, Jim, too, is that, you can take clips from this video stream, and depending on what you want to showcase, it could be you doing an introduction to the new feature that StreamYard has, right? It has nothing to do with the topic of this video, but it doesn't matter. When it comes to short form content, you can take pieces of it and you can share your expertise, or you could share part of a message and then direct people back to the full length video on your LinkedIn profile, or if you're on Facebook or wherever. So there's so many different ways that you can leverage video and clip it and use it in other places. And that's why the strategy piece is so important.
Right. So, Vicki, how do we pick the right type of video to use for our business? Because I think that's where a lot of us struggle. Like, I don't know what to do. I know I need to do video, but what kind of videos? And is anybody going to care?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get that question asked a lot, and that's the reason why I created it's a quiz. It's a video creator type quiz, or it's an assessment, and it walks people through different questions to help them identify what type of video they should start with. So there's so many different types, right? We're doing live streaming, or we could have done this as a pre-recorded video where we were cutting out different pieces and parts, or we wanted to do overlays and transitions, or only take pieces and parts and create separate videos. But we're doing live streaming. So how can we take this and, maybe evaluate if you can use this type of video in other places? Maybe you want to start, creating short form videos. So then, are you on TikTok? Are you on Instagram creating reels? Or are you on YouTube? Then it depends on what's your goal, right? So if you're already creating videos on YouTube, or you're live streaming to YouTube, you don't want to branch out and go on all three of those platforms at the same time, because it might be a little overwhelming. And then just trying to stay on top of the comments and the engagement and all of that. So if you're already creating videos on YouTube, you might want to next go to YouTube Shorts. And you don't have to be real engaging and entertaining on your shorts, but it needs to provide some type of value, right? Or it could be entertainment or just information that people are interested in. They want to know, they want to like, and they want to move on, right? Because they like the scroll. People love to scroll. So you have to keep that in mind, right? That it has to be of interest and capture people's attention.
And I think at the bottom of the screen here, I think, is that the quiz? Make sure you go to www.vickyo'neill.com/quiz and figure out what your creator type is. And I know you had made a LinkedIn post, and I think I'm an educator is what I think I need to take the quiz though and see if that's what the result was. But when you asked, I thought that's what I would be. Tim, what do you think you are as far as a video type? What kind of video are you? I think you're a funny person is what you are. Is that
Am I? I don't know. What are the options?
Great question. So educator is one. Architect is another one. Rock star is another one. And then let's see, what's the fourth one? We've got, now I can't think what the fourth one is. You asked me and I wasn't prepared. I should have had that typed out and ready to say. They essentially are looking at whether or not you're good, or if you kind of levitate or gravitate towards like long form content or short form, and then which platforms. So and the questions go through to help really hone in on what those are. and then you'll get your result. And then it kind of walks through the different characteristics of, whichever type you are. But then it takes it to the next level and says, here's how you can get started with that next step. And then you get separate
cool.
emails that help you take those next steps to getting started. And it's all without me being involved. I just send you the information and help you with the next steps.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to take it today. I'm curious what my results are going to be.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what your result is too. I'd say Jim is definitely an educator. Definitely. Tim, I want to see what yours are. Jim. You're a little bit more mysterious.
Yes. Yes, he is. I would agree with that. So we're going to take a quick moment to hear from our friends at StreamYard, and then we'll be back with the next question.
Yes. And we're back on the Tim and Jim show. We're dancing, and we're here with Vicki O'Neill talking all about cross-platform video strategies. That sounds pretty fancy. So Jim, where do we take this conversation?
To the next question.
The next question, Tim.
Yes. So Vicki, what technology do we need to get started with video?
It's easier than you think, Tim. All you need to get started with video essentially is your phone, right? We all have smartphones, and the phones today have great cameras, and that's really all you need. And of course you need to have lighting. And if you don't have a ring light or some type of, special light that gives you, great coloring and everything, you can use a window. I'm actually sitting next to a window, and that's giving me better lighting than my ring light. So, having those, and then having good audio. So right now I'm using just my laptop, but if you're using your phone, the phones today have really good audio capabilities in them. So you can essentially just start with your phone and a window where you have good lighting. So that's as difficult as it gets. And then, of course, as you move forward and you start evolving with your videos, then you can expand your equipment and get a better camera. You can get the audio equipment. I've got a lapel mic, and I've got an actual microphone that I could use too. When I do it on here, for some reason, it creates echo because it's hearing it, and that's why I'm not using it on this. But, you can just start to evolve your lighting, your audio, and your video equipment over time, just as you become more comfortable. Because if you get a fancy camera, as we know, it's going to have more features, and you're going to have to know how to work it, and you invest more time and all that. So depending on what you want to accomplish.
Yeah, I love that too, right? I think so many people overthink it, right? They think they got to spend, thousands of dollars to get started. And it's like, if you've got a smartphone, you can get started. Even if you just have a computer with a webcam. And if you don't have a webcam, we've had, it's been a while, but we had the folks from Camo, which is an app that you download to your computer, you hardwire your phone into it, and now you can use your phone as a webcam. And that's a pretty cool feature. But yeah, the audio is important. Lapel mics work great. Sometimes, like, I'm wearing earphones or in-ear monitors now, so that I don't get the echo feedback that you were talking about, Vicki. But yeah, and I'll do videos sometimes on my back deck, my reels, and I just use this little tripod and put the phone in there so it's not shaking all over the place.
Yeah. Exactly. And then you can have more fun with it too, because you can move from location to location and have different backgrounds and have different views. A lot of people are just setting their phones on the ground and even like upside down to give it different perspectives and different views. So
Tim likes to do the upside down. He did the upside down in Ecamm before. He hadn't done that in a while.
Yeah, Ecamm has this feature. They have this feature where it's a 180-degree feature, so you can be upside down. So that's my favorite feature in Ecamm.
We would ask you to do it now, but
Yeah. And so with backgrounds, Vicki, do you find for businesses, is there, like, should they always try to maybe have the same background, or you think it kind of depends? Like, what about you? Do you tend to do your videos in the same spot, or do you like to move around?
I personally like to move around. It's a great question. It's interesting because I get that question a lot. Like, should we always have the same background? And just with any marketing answer, it depends. Right? It's a typical answer. It depends on what you want to do with your videos. Like, if you're going to be doing a lot of how-to videos and training videos where you need to be in front of your computer and you're going to be sharing your screen, using the same background for branding purposes might be beneficial or something that you want to consider. But if you're going to be creating reels and shorts and TikToks, and you're going to be using some of the audio trends, or you're going to be doing transitions, it might be better to have different backgrounds. And that's what I do. If I'm going to be doing how-to videos, I sit here, and I just have the same background all the time. But when I do my shorts and my reels and my TikToks, I tend to move different places. I'll even go outside. I'll go in my car. I'll go to a park, just depending. I like to mix those up a little bit. So it depends.
Yeah. Because I do some here, but then, like I said, I've learned, like, I'll do some outside. I sometimes feel like I need to find other places to do video, but then I think, going back to what you're talking about earlier, the lighting, right, becomes the challenge when you're using the phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of dependent on your location, on what type of lighting, and then also your audio surroundings too. If you live in a neighborhood where there's barking dogs constantly, now you're limited on time of day, right?
Or bears.
Or bears. Yeah. Or there's
You never
bears.
know.
See, we slipped that into the conversation, Tim.
I like it.
Maybe you should get the bear on the video with you, Tim.
That would have been fun. As long
Yeah,
as it was
Chris-
at a distance.
Right. I mean, Chris Stone even suggested I should start a podcast called the Bear Escape Podcast.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a good one.
Yeah, Denise Lipka, great point. Lawnmowers.
Yes.
It seems like in my neighborhood they start at 8 in the morning. I don't know if that's like a thing that's something they want to start mowing.
I hear them throughout the day too. I'm like, really?
Yeah. So the final question, unless we have some questions come in from the audience, is what platforms should we consider for cross-platform use? And because I think that's where you start to like, oh, well, what should I do? Where should I go? I mean, I think there's even talk that LinkedIn might start doing a shorts type thing, which, gee, imagine that.
They're going to jump on the bandwagon after they got rid of stories.
Right?
They should have kept stories and it would have been an easier transition. So I think a lot of people tend to think of like LinkedIn and Twitter together. So if you're on LinkedIn and you want to expand to another platform, I would say consider Twitter. But you also have to look at what type of videos you enjoy making, right? So if that's where your ideal customers are, you also have to enjoy the process of creating those videos. So, I've been on Twitter, but I haven't been on Twitter in a while. For me, it consumes too much time. So I wouldn't go there. I'm on LinkedIn, but then I may go to Instagram and create reels, or I might go to TikTok and create TikToks. I always recommend that people consider TikTok. And the only reason is because there's about a 24-month window left. And this is per Gary Vaynerchuk, who always seems to know what the next greatest, biggest thing is. And he had said there's about a 24-month window left on TikTok. So if you want to at least consider it or use it and you haven't tested it yet, then I encourage people to test it out and see what it's all about. I know it's not for everybody. Plus it's not, there's issues around privacy with China and all that stuff. So I would just caution people to, be aware of that, but at least test it out, see what type of engagement, see if your ideal customers are spending time there. And if so, don't rule it out. Just, come up with a strategy that's going to work with your brand and what you're trying to get across and how you can include them in your community and engage with them.
And now when you're doing these videos on these different platforms, do you take the same video and put it, or do you actually try to come up with a different type of video depending on the platform? Like, do you like on TikTok, which I'll have to make sure that I follow you out there. I think I might already be following you. And if you want to follow Vicki, you can see now and put out the bottom all the places you can follow her. And she is on TikTok. Tim, are you on TikTok?
I'm there. I haven't done much, but I am there.
But what are your thoughts on that, Vicki, as far as like the video types?
I mean, if you're going to create one on TikTok, you can create it on TikTok, download it, and then use it on Instagram. The only thing is that you have to add in another step in between there, because if you download TikTok with the logo and you upload it to Instagram, Instagram's going to say, yeah, I don't think so. We're going to put that at the lowest possible priority in the algorithm, and you'll get hardly any reach on it. So you can use different platforms. For TikTok to remove the logo, you can use Snaptic, which is an application. You can go, you upload your video, it removes the logo, and then you can use that to upload it to Instagram. Yeah, on Instagram, it's easier. You can create a video and then you can download it before you post it. You don't have to worry about, going through another step of the process to remove anything. Then you have a original video that you can use across the different platforms. So that's what I did this morning with my reel. I did a reel and I did the audio first, or the video first, downloaded it. So I had the original, and then I added the labels, and I took the original video, put it on TikTok, added the labels, shorts, added the labels. So there was a little bit of customization, but the video itself was the original.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Because then you can kind of use the best features of each of the if you want to call it the short video platforms. Now, do you find, like, on TikTok, are you being like business-like and serious, or are you like, I don't know, where they have these things, duets and all these other things? I mean, what do you think there? Do you think it's smart for business to do that, or you think they should stay serious and focused?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say depending on your personality and what you're trying to get across, right? We're people and we're not serious all the time. So looking at your brand and what you want, the perception or how you want people to get to know you and your brand, is what I would encourage people to do. So I think it depends too, if you're going to be doing a lot of like original audio. I follow people on TikTok who will do like a stat of the day or a quote of the day, and it's a few seconds long. It's just them talking to video, and that's it. There's nothing else. That's the same thing you get every single day. But then you have somebody like me who likes to try different things. I like to test different things more so that I can help others if that's what they want to do. So you've got transitions, you've got different features, you've got different text and the timing of the text and the audio trends. So you see people who are either mouthing words or they're using a certain audio and then they add different text to it. Those are all going to get different reaches and different engagement. And you have to be a little more creative when you start using those. So it really depends on how much time. If you're going to start creating different, transitions, then it's going to create more time in the process, the creation process. But if you want to be more serious and just be direct to camera, just talking, it's going to be less time consuming. So again, it goes back to that whole, it depends.
Right.
There's never a straight answer, is there?
And we do have we have a question from Facebook user. I know Facebook doesn't always let people's face show up. Do you edit most things on your phone or your desktop? That's a really good question.
So good question. My short form videos, I edit those on my phone. I will use a application called CapCut. It's free and it's good for Apple and Android. And then it also has a desktop version too for Mac and Windows. It's free and it's got a lot of great features in the free version. So I will actually use that for any of my editing. It's easy to do cuts in the middle of videos and delete it and add transitions and text and everything. So I've actually tested that before too, where I'll create a video, use CapCut to do all of my editing, and then use that same video on all three platforms.
Will CapCut do captions?
Yes, they have auto captions built in, and it's super quick. Yeah,
because that was something interesting I found. I was on a Twitter chat last week. We were talking about video, and so of course I was doing my responses in video, and because I was just doing them right away. I mean, one person, and granted, I understand where they're coming from an accessibility standpoint. It's like, it would help if you had captions. And so, I guess from a Twitter perspective, and it's funny because I'm going to be on a Twitter chat later today with Winnie's son, where I think we're going to talk about like what we'd like to see Elon do for Twitter. And maybe that's one of them, is like build captions into the video software, because they do it for Spaces. You can caption the Twitter Spaces, but you cannot caption the video unless you do it yourself. And I did see, fairly quickly also with Apple Clips. But I think CapCut is great because, Tim is an Android guy, so you've just made his day. He now has a
So am I. Shout
oh,
out to us
that's
Android
right.
people.
Team iPhone.
Yes.
You're the one who's left out this time, Jim.
That's right. I'm Team iPhone. I've got multiple iPhones. I think I have a problem. But yeah, I think that's a great point though, right? To be able to edit stuff quickly. And heard a lot about CapCut. I just recently downloaded it. Need to play with it a little bit more. And I did also do the desktop version. I prefer to edit when I can on my desktop, only because I don't know, it's easier, I feel like, than, trying to do everything on the phone. But I think to get used to it, I could see where either one of those works. What about you,
The
Tim? What do you
longer
do?
form videos that I do are all done on my desktop. So
Yeah.
if they're landscape and they're videos I've put on YouTube, those are done on my desktop.
Right.
Yeah, it's easier, like you said.
Yeah. Tim, what about you? Desktop or phone for editing video?
Yeah, I usually edit on my desktop.
Yeah.
But they're usually longer form videos.
There you go. So yeah, you can run it on the Apple Silicon desktop. Yeah. And James Hicks, great to see you. I'm going to be on his show tonight at 7. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be talking about my Marine Corps marketing ways and how I bring that into the mix. So James, thanks you for stopping by. Make sure you go subscribe to his channel. He is a brilliant guy, and I'm honored to be on his show tonight.
Is that where we can watch it, Jim? Where can we watch the show?
On YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook too, but go to the tube of you, as I like to say. I think
tube of you.
Yeah. I think all the tubes.
I'll have to go out there and find him.
Yeah.
Subscribe to his channel.
Yeah,
Jim's quite popular on all the shows.
I just got lucky today. It's a lucky day, because the Braves won. That's all.
Oh, that's why. They brought you good luck.
They brought me good luck.
No, it's your awesomeness already. People already knew you.
Oh, stop it. So Tim, you've got a big thing coming up. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So coming up on November 5th, 1 month from today, is an in-person event here in Northeast Pennsylvania called Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. It's an event for cancer patients, cancer survivors, and cancer supporters. It's an opportunity for you to come in person and share your story with others in the cancer community, feel inspired, be supported, support others. It's a free event in partnership with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and 25 amazing sponsors are supporting the event. So shout out to all of them. So definitely go to perspectivesoncancer.com if you'd like to find out more information, sign up. Would love to see you all in person 1 month from today. Thanks.
Is there a way to support you online as well, or is it in person only?
There is a 1 hour of the event. There's a weekly show that I do called Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. And at 2:30 that day, there's an episode of the show that's going to be live streamed that will be in person as well as live streamed. So if you want to tune in for that, either live or on the replay, I'll be putting the link out there when it gets closer.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for asking. I appreciate it.
And Vicki, what are your latest things that we know we want people to take your quiz, so I'm going to put that out there again. What else have you got coming up that we might want to know about?
Yes, I'm working on a video marketing acceleration program. So it's an academy that kind of has like a beginner, intermediate, and advanced stages for people who are either just getting started with video, or they've already been creating video and they just want to take it to that next level, or they're already doing video and they're like, you know what, I'm kind of done with this. I just want to outsource it to somebody, and I'll create the video, but then have somebody else do all the editing, content creation, and just kind of get all of that off their plate. That piece is already in place because that's, you create the video, we can do the rest. The other two pieces are a work in progress, where it'll be video courses that you can take and, kind of accelerate through the video marketing process, and take the steps based on the time that you've got available and the goals that you're trying to achieve. So that'll be coming out. I'm working on that now, and that'll be ready by the first of the year.
Nice. That sounds very interesting. When you have that, we might have to have you back. You can talk more about that when it's
I would love to.
ready and out there, so you can teach people about that.
Yeah, it's been fun joining you in this conversation too. You guys are awesome to be on live with.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't know why we waited so long. It's funny because it was like when you put that. Wait, that's the power of networking on LinkedIn too. Is when I saw what you were talking about, I was like, hey, we're gonna have Vicki on the show. She's a smart cookie, and it's been far too long because Kendra's been on a couple times. So I feel bad that this is just your first time, Vicki. So thank you so much.
I think we tried to at one point. I think the timing might have just kind of not worked out for all three of us.
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm on here now, and I'm very grateful for you guys.
Now, are you doing any in-person events or just there in the Cincinnati area?
I'll do in-person events if it makes sense, kind of like what we were talking about before, just, making sure that the time is going to be well used, versus online. But I went to the LinkedIn local event that Brian Wallace, are you guys familiar with Brian?
Yes, Brian's awesome.
Yeah, so he hosted that a couple of months ago, and I went to that. Kendra was there as well. I actually met a lot of really cool people for the first time at that event. I've stayed in contact with them, had a couple of proposals as a result of that. So that was a good in-person event. And then a couple other ones that are geared towards like organizations and supporting those versus business. But yeah, I'm kind of like, let's do things online. We can maximize our time together, but in person's a nice break.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I've gone to some this year, and it has been nice to meet people, face to face. But I like you, I'm starting to really think about what events am I going to go to? Is it worth it? And you should have a plan of why you're going to the event.
Yes.
This has been amazing, Vicki. Thank you so much for being here. Next week, a good friend, Eddie Garrison from Clover Media, is going to be here. And we're going to be talking about lead generation. He just wrote a book about it. It's available on Amazon. I got to read it. It's a well done book, and because leads sometimes are what help your business grow. But be careful, because if you get too many leads, you might not be able to handle it.
You don't want that.
Right, that could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
It sound good.
That's when it's time to hire somebody.
That's right. Tim, any final thoughts?
Just thank you, Vicki. This has been a really great conversation. I've been looking forward to it. So thank you for all the value that you've brought to the conversation. And thanks for letting me slip in the conversation about the bear experience this morning.
Thank you for having me on your show. It's an honor to be on camera with you guys and just having this great conversation. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
Bye.